If you was one of 3 guys at the end of the world and 7 billion women lived, and now you can't refuse anything from them, what are you finna do? Me personally, if I was one of the last niggas in the world, bro, we've been through this multiple times. I am having the time of my life, going on adventures, seeing things, experiencing things, and not having sex with every single woman I can because I'm not a gooner. So let's get to it.
Unexpectedly, a man joins their table, delighted to see Armin. The man dials his daughter's number and tells her that he has just met her fiance, who for some reason forgot to mention that he already has a girlfriend. Armin is forced to flee from his would-be relative.
Bro, hold on. Yo. Why was that escape kind of clean?
That he already has a girlfriend. Armin is forced to
that shit kind of tough.
His would-be
that kind of tough.
Meanwhile, another young man, Tursun, returns home where his wife, Elena, is waiting. He announces that he has bought a gift for their wedding anniversary.
Okay.
Elena rejoices, hoping that her husband has bought a car. However, it turns out to be a washing machine.
Yo, what the that's like, yo, no. That's like having a fat girlfriend, and for her birthday, you get her a treadmill. What the fuck? That is crazy. No.
Disappointed, Elena sinks back onto the couch.
That is
Suddenly,
insane.
Her husband notices that their shared stash of savings is missing. Elena explains that she spent the money on a dress and mentions her friend, whose husband gave her a trip to Europe for their anniversary.
Okay,
she
W, get back, queen.
To take out the trash. At the same time, Armin calls Tursun. Tursun pretends in front of his wife that his friend is incredibly jealous of their purchase and asks Elena to cook something for them. However, Elena again brings up her friend's husband, who spends his time meeting friends at a cafe. Frustrated, Tursun goes to take out the trash and finds Armin hiding between the dumpsters. Armin hopes to lay low at Tursun's place, but remembering Elena, Tursun suggests they go to a cafe instead. The friends flag down a taxi, driven by a prankster named Tima. After negotiating the price, the trio drives away from the house. On the way, Armin recounts the encounter with the father of one of his girlfriends, who, unlike Armin, was planning something serious. Tursun advises his friend to settle down. He himself is married, has a mortgage for 25 years, and just bought a washing machine. However, he forgot to inform his wife that he had left the house. He calls her, praising the new washing machine, but Elena sarcastically tells him to marry the washing machine and hangs up.
Yeah, that's a horrible gift. Gifting your wife a washing machine is insane.
Chimes in,
get her like
he has a perfect relationship with his car, which he affectionately calls his Swallow. Suddenly, the car gets stuck in traffic. The guys see a pink car on the roadside and a girl trying to figure out why her car won't start. She asks for their help, but they refuse, mocking her driving skills. They continue on their way until they are stopped by a patrol. It turns out that Tima's driver's license has expired. The officer orders the car to be towed to an impound lot. The guys are left without transportation and start hailing another ride. Unexpectedly, the same pink taxi pulls up. The girl admits that she normally doesn't drive men, but she saw they needed help. At this moment, Tursun remembers his wife, and Armin, unable to hold back, admits that they overheard what Elena said. So there's no need to idealize his marriage. Eventually, the guys conclude that all their problems are because of women. Tima jokes that he would have sorted things out with a female police officer. Armin dreams of a world where girls don't have brothers or fathers. Tursun reflects on his wife's friend's husband, who always seems better than him. Suddenly, the driver, Sophia, amazed at their fantasies, offers to take them to a world where only women exist. Soon they arrive at a bar.
So Sophia is a genie, basically.
And Sophia refuses to take money from the friends, wishing them good luck. Tima leaves while Armin and Tursun enter the cafe and stop in shock. Inside, there are only women who scream with
I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's a lot of chop shit in this this lobby. I'm gonna keep it a bean. It's kind of, you feel me? It's not really looking too good. I'm not gonna lie. The left side's kind of but the right side's
excitement upon seeing them. The guys don't understand the commotion, and soon drinks start arriving from all the tables.
Bakin, I'm sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't be, you feel me, objectifying women like that. My fault, yo.
Chris announces that everything here is free for them, and they can relax and enjoy themselves. Stunned, Armin reaches for his phone and suddenly notices that all his male contacts have disappeared. Tursun calls.
But imagine that. Like, imagine taking a taxi and complaining about some niggas, and then you get, like, transported in a world with just straight women. Like, at first, it could be cool, but then eventually, I'm gonna be pissed, bro. Like, what?
Causes laughter when he asks to switch the TV.
If they were light-skinned, bro, would faint. No, I wouldn't. I would say the same thing.
Match. The waitress explains that there are only 3 men in the world, and for a soccer game, they need at least 22 players. Remembering Sophia's words, Tursun asks about the men's bathroom. The waitress apologizes, saying they never expected men to visit the bar. The guys rush outside, shocked to realize they are in a world of women. Tima suddenly appears, telling them that even the police officers here are women. Sophia approaches them again, confused by their surprise. Didn't they want to be in a world without men?
That
They
is
will
true.
spend an
They asked for
entire
this
day
shit.
in paradise, where there are no annoying friends' husbands, brothers, fathers, or
Just
male
piss
police
in the
officers.
bushes.
And they themselves are now listed
That's
in the
true.
Red Book. However, they won't be able to photograph or record anything. Those are the rules. No evidence of the women's world. Sophia returns the keys to Tima's car, which turns out to be nearby. In this world, towing his car is forbidden since he is the only male taxi driver. While the friends rejoice, Tursun feels down, unsure of how Alina will react. Sophia reassures him that in their world, only a second will pass and no one will notice their absence. Armin suggests they make the most of their time.
Yeah, they finna be going on some crazy two-mans. They finna be having the time of their lives.
Such happiness may never come again. The guys rush to the car and drive around the city, enjoying all the attention. Tima starts planning the kind of fare he can charge here, while Tursun asks to be taken home, despite Armin's protests. Suddenly, they are stopped by a female police officer who treats men quite sternly. She orders Tima to get out of the car, but as he complies, she suddenly kisses him and runs off, apologizing for abusing her position.
Did she just do a drive-by kiss? She pulled that nigga over just to tongue him down? What? Isn't that like an assault? Imagine if a male cop did that shit, bro. That's assault.
The trio ends up at a club where they party hard, reveling in the attention. Unexpectedly, a waitress whom Armin had flirted with earlier refuses to get acquainted, which stings his pride. When he insists, she explains that he's too arrogant and self-absorbed, then wishes him a good evening. Tursun cheers up.
Damn, like it's only 3 men. Yo, imagine there only being 3 men in the world and you still get rejected. I'm not gonna lie, you low-key kind of a loser.
Happy that even in this world, women like her exist. The guys continue dancing and drinking until a security guard asks Tima to step outside, saying someone is waiting for him. Surprised, he goes to the door and sees Olga, the police officer. Pretending not to know her, he hides
and now, you got a stalker. The #1 stalker for the rest of your life.
Returns to the others, reporting that the traffic cop has tracked him down. Tursun eagerly supports the idea of leaving the club, desperate to get home. Armin insists they drop off their married friend and continue partying until morning. However, when the waitress brings the bill, it turns out to be huge. The rule of the club is that while the men drink and eat for free, they must pay for the women's orders. Armin suggests...
Nah, nigga. Nah, bruh. How you finna tell me everything in the club is free for me because I'm the only man? But then you gonna have to make me pay for all of these women that are trying to be around me, bro. Hell nah, bro.
Yes, they stay until morning when their 24 hours will expire. But at that moment, they see men all around them. Horrified, the three rush outside where Sophia is waiting.
How did it turn from an amazing ratio to a fucking sausage party, bro? What?
She reveals the main condition of their visit. Throughout these 24 hours, the men cannot refuse any request from women. Otherwise, they will be trapped forever in a world inhabited only by men.
Hell no. Actually, matter of fact, you can do whatever. You could tell me to shit on myself, bro. I'm gonna do that shit immediately, bro. You're telling me I gotta live in a world full of niggas? Full of sausage and testosterone? Hell no. That's like going to prison. Hell no, bro. That's a crazy catch, though.
They had one chance to make a mistake, and they already used it. The guys empty their pockets.
Wait, they only get one mistake, and you ain't tell them before? That's L man.
Together just enough cash to pay for their evening at the club. Tima then sees Olga standing by his car. She invites him for a ride around the city, and he cannot refuse. In the morning, they part ways. Meanwhile, Alina offers Tursun any breakfast he wants, saying she's ready to do anything for her lucky husband. She suggests hosting a dinner for him and Armin, knowing it will please her husband, and then calls Armin, inviting him and asking him to bring some spices. Armin reluctantly agrees. However, when he steps outside, an elderly woman asks him to help carry her bag to her apartment. Armin has no choice but to comply.
True. But like, okay, in this world, right? What if like a super like big, my 600-pound life old lady just goes up to you and asks you to like just eat her out? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Because you can't say no. Are you finna do it? And then like, what if she just this is gonna get vulgar. This is gonna get NC-17. I'm not gonna lie. But if she just threatens to like just poop on you, you can't say no. So like you kind of have to do it.
Same time, Tima hears a radio advertisement inviting people to a
Nigga
fair.
says, send me to the sausage fest. 1,000 times no. Looks like I'm a die and meet God in heaven. Some nigga put his forks in his plate on the chat. Nah, you're crazy.
And switches it off, since the announcer is also a woman. Suddenly, he notices the women around him begin turning into men. With horror, he realizes he must comply with every request. Meanwhile, Armin prepares tea, does laundry, and mops the floors for the elderly woman. Terzan, on the other hand, is enjoying a delicious meal prepared by Alina. He begins coming up with playful tasks, and his wife eagerly brings him slippers, tidies up the apartment, and even pretends to be a puppy. However, when he...
But like, okay, why are you making your wife do that shit, bro? Do you even love her at that point? I would never tell my wife to degrade herself and become a puppy. That shit weird. Like, bro, you really don't fuck with her.
Tries to photograph her, his phone shuts off.
Freaky ass fraud.
Alina takes his dissatisfaction personally and gets upset. Terzan consoles his wife, asking her not to make any requests for the rest of the day. She agrees, but immediately suggests going out somewhere since they rarely leave the house. He has no choice but to agree. At this moment,
she pretty
Armin
too?
finishes
Jeez.
mopping the floors. Seeing that the old woman has fallen asleep, he sneaks out of the apartment. Hiding in a park, he is called over by a girl, a painter, who asks him to help move her easel.
Yeah, I'm yo, you can request anything from me. Shit. Only thing you shall not request it for me to leave you alone, because I do not want to leave you alone. Let's lock in.
To his surprise, he recognizes her as the unfriendly waitress from the bar. However, she smiles, explaining that she hated her job there, but this is her creative passion. She introduces herself as Diana. Meanwhile, Tima once again runs into Olga on the road. Following his GPS, he drives off, but Olga gives chase, demanding that he stop. Every time he stops, the female voice of the GPS urges him to keep driving. The chase continues for a while until Olga finally catches up, orders him to stop, and demands he follow her to the station. Terzan and
What?
Alina...
What are you gonna do to him, man? Dirty ass cop. What are you finna do to him, bro? Like, what? Why does he need to go to the station with you? He ain't commit no crime.
are relaxing at a cafe. Terzan immediately calculates how much he would have to pay for all the women present when an argument erupts. The couple has taken a table that was reserved in advance. Alina suggests leaving, and Terzan eagerly agrees. Meanwhile, Armin is strolling with Diana when a group of girls asks him to retrieve their kite from a tree. Climbing up, he manages to retrieve the toy, but falls. Diana takes him to a cafe.
Damn.
They relax, talk, and seem to fall for...
Hey, but like, I'm seeing a trend though. Everybody's finding their match. Whether it's the first guy with the who bought his wife the fucking washing machine, or this guy, you feel me, with this girl, you feel me, because this looks like a good match, and even Olga, you feel me, he's finding his match with the with the cop, you know, perfect match right there.
Other. Suddenly, Diana begins to flicker, and Armin remembers the spices. Apologizing, he runs off, promising Diana he will find her. At the same time...
Oh shit, yeah, he does have to obey everybody, so he can't even really focus on her.
Olga unexpectedly takes Tima to a hotel. Armin then receives a promotional offer and is forced to go to a beauty salon where he undergoes all the treatments, including waxing. Meanwhile, Terzan takes his wife...
No. What if a girl tells you to cut off your balls? Are you doing it? Like, you gotta call off your balls, your shaft, everything. Y'all doing it? Or y'all... Or it's either that or you gotta end up in a sausage party, bro. Y'all doing that shit? I ain't gonna lie. I might not do that. I ain't gonna lie. Meat fest incoming.
to a memorable spot in the park where they used to love spending time. He treats her to sausage rolls, just like on their first date. Tima, unable to figure out how to escape from the overly affectionate Olga, hides in a bathroom. He sets a napkin on fire, triggering the fire suppression system and forcing everyone to evacuate the building. Meanwhile, Armin calls Alina to inform her that he bought the spices, but she tells him to come another time. He is happy to have fulfilled her request and hurries back to Diana. Unfortunately, he runs into the elderly woman again.
Bro, he can't catch a break. Being attractive in a world where all women have to, in a world where you have to do whatever women tell you to, is horrible.
Who asks him for a massage. Armin reluctantly complies. At that moment, Diana enters the apartment. She is the grandmother's granddaughter. Together, they leave the apartment, with the grandmother shouting after them not to kiss. Meanwhile, Tima tries to hide from Olga in an elevator. However, during the fire, it locks, and he gets caught again. At Armin's request, Diana paints her own portrait, though she doesn't understand why, since they could just take a photo. Armin cannot tell her the truth and simply says they may not see each other again. Hurt, Diana becomes upset, especially when Armin refuses to kiss her because of the grandmother's request. Sarcastically, she suggests he jump off the roof. Armin stands on the edge and
Why would you say that? You're finna kill your new man before y'all even lock in.
asks her to stop him, but Diana remains silent. Suddenly, a little girl from below screams and begs him not to jump, saying she has already learned her homework, which mentions there are only 3 men in the world. Armin gladly complies and explains to Diana that this is part of the rules of the game. However, she only hears the word game, feels insulted, and leaves. Armin takes the unfinished portrait with him.
Damn, you just fumbled fine shit because of this world,
The
bro.
guys meet up and
R.I.P.,
discuss
man.
their day when
Shit.
Sophia arrives. She explains that only those who were in her car can return to their world. Suddenly, Armin hijacks Sophia's taxi and speeds off to find Diana, determined to take her instead of Sophia. The problem is, he doesn't know where she lives. They arrive at the grandmother's house, and she leads them to Diana's place.
Did y'all kidnap
However,
Granny?
Diana refuses to open the door. The grandmother shouts up to her window, praising Armin, but Diana insists that it was all just a game. Armin pleads for her to believe him, but she refuses to leave. The guys return to Sophia, who refuses to take them home and plans to leave alone. Armin apologizes, explaining his reasons, even offering to stay in this world forever. Sophia remains unmoved. Only when the guys fully repent does she agree to take them back. The taxi drives through the city, and at some point, they return to the normal world. The guys thank Sophia, but she pretends not to understand what they're talking about. Just then, they respond to a request from another female taxi driver, asking them to help push her car. Tursun buys flowers for
And they finally did it. Huh, okay.
his wife and heads home,
That's
while
nice.
Tima hugs a passing traffic officer.
That
Armin
is crazy.
begins searching for Sophia in all the places they visited in her world, but without success. Later, Tursun sells the washing machine and takes his wife to the park. Armin visits Diana's apartment, but another woman lives there with her very jealous husband. Meanwhile, Tursun treats his wife to sausage rolls and gives her tickets to Paris. Tima retrieves his car and suddenly runs into
husband
Olga,
now.
who strikes up a conversation with him about his beloved car. The two find common ground. Armin, however, goes to an art school to have Diana's portrait finished. To his surprise, he sees Diana herself. They meet again for the first time and become a couple. During the
W ending. I'm not
credits,
gonna lie,
Tima
this
takes
kind of, you feel
Olga
me?
to a hotel,
You know,
but this time he is wearing a police uniform, determined to tweak a few of her memories. The film's positives include stunning views of Astana and many beautiful women on screen, though, unfortunately, the humor falls flat.
Yeah, very interesting movie. I'm not gonna lie. If I got to rate it 1 through 10, wasn't one of the best. It was not one of the best. It was kind of weird, but I feel like it could have been better. It for sure could have been better. But it's an interesting concept though. It's an interesting concept. But I feel like if you first off, this is kind of like a comedy, but there wasn't anything really that funny about this shit. I'm gonna keep it a beam. Like it was kind of like gag humor. Maybe back in the 2000s it could have been cool, but it just ended up being weird. Even like the Olga and then whatever the other fat nigga, that little arc, like that little dynamic, it could have been funnier, but it just was kind of weird. Like she was literally finna SA, bro. Like I don't know, that's kind of weird. I do like these two's encounters, but I feel like it could have been more like built upon, bro. Like it was just kind of flat. And then the character development for old bro and his wife is kind of like, one moment he was like, fuck you, cook, clean, and suck my dick. And then another he was like, well, that's not all you should do. I'm gonna make sure you feel me, you're good. Like what caused him to be like that? I don't know, bro. It was kind of a trash ass movie. I'm gonna keep it a beam. But hey, hopefully the next one ain't.